broken wide open. There's the freedom and the free fall. I wanna scream, but I whisper surrender. 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 I keep making lists, a million things I need to fix. I make everyone crazy. Is this something about me? I keep tightening my grip, but I aim so much I miss, and I'm fighting the river when I try to hold it all together, but it's just not getting better. Surrender. Surrender. It's breaking my heart 'cause I don't understand why so much is out of my hands. I have to remember. Surrender. Oh, I keep learning the hard way. Oh, keep forgetting how to pray. Someone tell me I'm okay. I climbed a mountain I could not resist, and I hit bottom at the top of it. I was broken wide open. It was the freedom and the free fall. I wanna scream, but I whisper, surrender. Surrender.
Testing. How's it sound, everyone? Okay.
I think the microphone needs to be a little closer to you.
Okay.
It's been.
How's that? Okay. All right. Still good?
It's very
All right. All right. I'd like to say good evening, everyone. Those who are watching online, possibly from Canada and other areas that we've experienced. So tonight, I would like to ask that you consider a deeper surrender in life. And so many of us are walking in these new realms of consciousness. We're walking in the unknown. And in this unknown space, it's unfamiliar. So tonight I'm asking you to allow yourself to be uncomfortable and to become comfortable with the uncomfortable. And yet, at the same time, speaking into the thing that came in for me last night was pain. What do we do with the pain? And the biggest thing I've felt people reaching out for is to move past or through the pain. So as long as we're still sitting with the pain, knowingly or unknowingly, it doesn't heal. So in the space of that, what I'm inviting tonight is for you to consider, to allow yourself to feel whatever feeling comes in. Sadness, joy, happiness, pain, sorrow, a relationship. Whatever's on your heart tonight, feel free to express. I am comfortable with all emotion. I've been working with the emotional body for almost 12 years now, and I feel very familiar with it. I'm not saying I know everything about it, but I know enough to be helpful. And so I thought we'd start out with what's on the playlist next was
The Embrace.
Okay, I'm going to wait for that for a second. Just want to make sure it was up. So a couple other things to consider and to contemplate as well is this is I'm speaking way beyond the physical form, but into your hearts, your souls. What do you devote it to in life? And how deep is your yes to the very thing that God's Spirit is asking you? Are you willing? Are you all in? Because in the space of when we see people like this on the walls and other people, you know they were all in, they were devoted, and their yes was complete. There was no in their language. It was just a yes to opening to everything that is possible here for us. And so tonight also, anything that you may have brought with you, beginning to let go of family, of friends, significant others for the night. Just be here for you. And let's see what the mystery may be, what God has for you tonight. And are there any questions before I start? And then also, if the emotional body does open, I use my hands. And so I just want to make sure that if anybody's uncomfortable with hands, just raise your hand to let me know if you're okay. Okay. And so those of you who didn't raise your hands, I'm considering you're okay with that. So it's usually we may place the hand if there's a movement over the heart. And if there's a further movement, I'll let you know what it is. And always ask permission wherever I put my hands. It's only with your permission only. And so let's go ahead and start by taking a nice deep breath in. And releasing, letting go of the day. Take another deep breath in all the way down into the belly, the hip cradle. And release. One more breath in, deep breath. And as you're releasing the breath, feel your being, your body, the energy coming through the crown chakra, dropping in, beginning to, like molasses, to slowly move through the mind, beginning to clear, to cleanse, to release. Down into the throat chakra. Feeling it open. Maybe there might be things tonight that have been unspoken and not said or said. Letting the voice box open. And then allowing your whole chest to open and the heart to open as well. Being very present in your heart. And then dropping down all the way to the core of Mother Earth, who is so present and so available to hold you, to support you, to guide you, to heal. She is more than able. In this world that we live in today, she is more than able to shift the consciousness on this planet. But it has to start somewhere. So it starts with us. Those of you who are probably the bright lights in your family. And Spirit will always lean on you a little bit more to go deeper, to open wider, to let your light shine. So in this yes that you may find in your heart to God, to open more, to experience the unknown, the uncomfortable, just let it be and let go. And then bring in something that may be on your heart and your mind, and just contemplate as we get ready for the meditation that will start as soon as the music is cued. We'll start into that meditation that will bring us all the way back home into our hearts. Just allowing your shoulders to relax. In the framework of your being, your ribs, shoulders. Beginning to let go of some of the things you've been holding on to. For example, in our walk with the divine, forgiveness is absolutely necessary in order to move forward. There's nothing that we can actually hold on to, drop into the depth of the love that is in each one of us. It's like a seed. It's like the awakening that happens. It's no longer in our control. It's just awakening, moving in our being and our body, which is our natural state of being. And so in the place where we've been kind of riding the roller coaster, beginning to allow your heart to self-regulate, to bring you right into the core of your being, coming back to the natural state of our humanity, who we were meant to be on this planet. So it's like we're going to do a little exploration here, like a little journey. Beginning to feel the deep yearning in your being, in your hearts. Letting go of all opinions, judgments of another, of self. Let love be the core of our being, our essence tonight, and the willingness to go beyond. So we're going to take this journey up Mount Everest. And you have a backpack that you're carrying. And as you're beginning the journey walking uphill, as the path gets steeper, the bag seems to be really heavy. And so when the bag becomes heavy, it's time to lighten the load. So just picture yourself reaching into this backpack and taking out a rock, something you've been carrying that you're aware of, that no longer belongs to you. And just begin to toss it to the side. As you're continuing to walk, the bag gets heavier and heavier, harder to carry. So what is it that it's time to let go of that's no longer yours to carry? It could be a place where we're still in our fight with God. So is there anywhere where you're still fighting with your divinity with God? Are you ready to move out of the way and let God fully open you to the spaces that for many lifetimes, maybe even thousands, that you've yearned and longed for? And so it's a surrender as well. And when we're surrendering, what you may notice is that the very thing that we've surrendered is no longer needed. It served its purpose. Maybe it's a place you've been protecting, and unknowingly, consciously, unconsciously, we have protectors in life and shadows where we can't fully yet see ourselves or what needs to shift or to change. Or maybe you've done a lot of work in your life and you're wondering, why has my life not changed significantly? What is it that I'm not seeing? Maybe the prayer that could be offered tonight is, God, show me what I cannot see. Show me how. And as you're walking up this path, it gets steeper and steeper. You need to lighten up even more. Coming to the place of, is there a paradigm shift that's ready to awaken? Is there a place of forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness, that's ready to open? Or a place where we've been really hard on ourselves? It's an opportunity to really lighten up. And so as we're walking this pathway up, there's a plateau that we hit. And it's spacious. It's got big, tall, grassy areas with flowers growing. And as you're walking through these fields, just with your hand, just brushing over these tall grasses and flowers, coming towards the forest. You can see the pine trees, the birds chirping. And as you get closer, you can smell the scent of pine, the freshness of it, the oxygen that the trees put out and can give to us. And just fully taking it in, breathing it in, your load has been lightened. And as you keep walking forward, in front of you is a still lake. As you approach this lake, just noticing the beauty, the stillness. As you come forward, you're thirsty. You stoop down and scoop up water in your hand, and as you're doing that, there's a reflection of you in the water. And as you see that reflection, take a look in the eyes. We'll call it the higher self. It has been waiting for you to speak, to guide, to offer. And so in the depth of that higher self, looking in the eyes, with your heart open, what is the higher self in this moment wanting to communicate to your heart, to your soul? Take your time to be in the stillness and to listen. And if the mind comes in and gets busy, give it something to do, like maybe count from 1,000 backwards and let the heart do what it does. So go deeper and open even more and ask, what is your higher self? Where does it want to bring you? Where does it want you to open? What specifically is here for you tonight to consider and to receive? And just notice what it is that you're receiving and what you're hearing for yourself, and really hold it in your heart. And then at the same time, maybe there's something you've wanted to say to your higher self, the God self, the awakened self. What is it that you would like to communicate to the higher aspect of yourself? And then as you've received whatever you've received in both of those opportunities, there's another pathway at this plateau. And it's a temple. It's a small temple that has always been there. It represents your heart. And as you begin walking towards that temple and you go through the doorway, it's a very profound and expanded space. It's like a big crystalline palace, and it's vast. And as you look into the room, there's an altar in the middle. And this altar is a very sacred space within. Maybe it's the first time you've noticed. Maybe you've been there many times. It's a place where we can begin to really true our heart and to begin to peel away what's no longer needed. Old concepts, old ways of being. Or if there's been a time where we've been a warrior in many lifetimes, maybe even this lifetime, are you willing to lay down your sword and begin to peel away any place there's armor over your heart? And just begin to lay it piece by piece. They may be specific things that the armor is protected. For some, there's been a lot of anger held. And this anger is ready to release. Sometimes under the anger is a deep sadness that has not yet been felt. So just be willing to feel and to offer whatever you feel to offer. And this altar is your altar. It's your space, it's your sacred space, it's your secret space of where all is revealed, where vulnerability has become comfortable. Being able to witness, to see your own heart, to see who you are. And then there may be a place where you're judging yourself, where just that one less than excellent thing, and we focus on it. And yet we forget the other 9 things that every day we do great. Maybe they're unappreciated or unnoticed, but you know in your own heart, it's what you do and what you give. And it's important. So just one more step. Is there anything else you're ready to shift, to change, to open to? And as you're beginning to complete, taking your time, this is not a push, this is just an invite. You may even know specifically what it is that you've really struggled with to let go of. And the opportunity is there to take it for yourself. There's no judgment. There's no opinion being held. It's just for you. And then as you're backing away from the altar, bringing with you what you received, what you opened to, slowly start coming back. Taking some nice, easy breaths. And when you're ready, only when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you. I really enjoyed that coming in with the meditation. So in the space of this meditation, I just thought I'd ask what you feel you received for yourself. I don't know your name, so. Elizabeth. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes. Hmm. Hmm. You know, it's interesting, as we're moving into the light, the different aspects of self that are available that we didn't even know was there. I believe our natural state of being is beginning to come forth because the ego mind has been so convincing that it's something else, that it actually appears true. So in the depths of light, as our beings, our hearts opening to the light, there's an expansion there that allows us to see who we are. So, wow. Is there anything else with that?
No, I'm complete with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You can just pass it over to whoever wants to go next.
I was just relaxed. I didn't really have any
Okay.
major thing come to me, so.
All right. Hey, Bill.
Hey, that was beautiful. I felt a place of deeper acceptance, like for my place in the world and my place in it all. Just something like settled in, a sense of being a part of the greater. Yeah.
Anything else?
Just more ease. There's just an ease about it. It's just a beautiful meditation that just, yeah.
Thank you. Kelly.
Thank you. That was really beautiful. I got some pretty big hits in the rocks I was throwing out my backpack. And ironically, I really felt a new layer of surrender coming in for me. And I don't know how, but like more devotion, just on my knees. And just this powerful thank you. And just tell me and show me, what's next. So it was big. Thank you.
Yeah, it's
It's
really
beautiful.
a huge invite to really come to know yourself and the beauty and power of this work that we're all participating and growing in life. What a powerful movement for you. I think that one's going to be sitting with you for a while. Yeah.
Like the big unknown and just being okay and
Yeah.
resting in it.
I really feel it's a place that, surrender. There's a lot of books and people talking about it, but the actual surrender itself, it just seems like it just comes when it comes. It's like I don't produce surrender in my life. I think about there's thoughts, I've read books, and yet in that place of where my heart is ready, and unknowingly, my biggest openings come outside of retreat or workshops or meditations. And they just kind of come. And there's no explanation. Like way back when, I know you've heard it before, I started laughing in a retreat and I couldn't stop. And this one girl, every time I looked at her, it'd start all over again, and we weren't even laughing about anything in particular. And somebody came up and asked me, "What's happening?" I says, "Well, I really don't know right now, but I feel really happy and I can't stop laughing." So what I came up with, I call it unreasonable happiness. There is no reason. It just is. It's not something we have to do to get, to become. It's just in that space of surrender and devotion, Spirit really opens up the world to us in a way we never thought was possible. There is so much more in consciousness available if we want it. And so really, that place of surrender and devotion is what it takes. Forgiveness is a big one I've noticed in circles over the year, me being one of them. "Oh, Bill, you're going to need to forgive that person." What? And so in that space, I thought it was about the other person, and it actually wasn't. It actually came back to the place where I hadn't forgiven myself. I was the one dragging the ball and chain around. They had probably forgotten all about it and didn't even consider it anymore. And here I am 20 years later still dragging this ball and chain. So this work, as far as I'm concerned, has given me all the freedom I've ever wanted, and then some. And there's more available. I don't know if it ever ends, and probably ends in my last breath, whenever that may be. So anyway, thank you for that. Is there anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay. I don't know your name, so.
I'm Carrie.
Carrie.
I also released a lot of heavy rocks and found peace. And a lot of getting close to clarity.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about clarity in my experience. In life, so many times I've said yes when I meant no. And over, I didn't realize it was an act of betrayal of myself, because the truth is what I really meant was no. And so in that space, people said, Bill, what's the shortcut in consciousness? I says, I don't think there is one. I probably would have found it if there was. And yet I felt, for me, really just being honest with myself and saying no. And usually I had to learn to say the no with people that were difficult for me to say no to. But in that space, it gave me such freedom and clarity, being clear with my yes and no in life. And actually, the hardest person is my wife to say no to. I've gotten a whole lot better at it. But I'm finding when I feel it in my heart, because the masculine is very directional, whereas the feminine is the flow, and I feel the masculine holds the banks of the river for the feminine to flow in the planet. And so there's a new movement, I believe, of the feminine coming into the power it always was and always will be, into the place rather than the explosion of the masculine and what we see in the world. It's a pulling back in side where the women bring more in this implosion of consciousness, of love, of light, of compassion. I feel is what is coming and being birthed on the earth, something new. We've needed some sort of tectonic thing to happen, some sort of movement to really open us. And I feel it's happening with us first, those who have said yes in their hearts to divine, to God, to spirit, to the energy. And so clarity is one of the things I really love in life, to be clear. And when I'm clear with my wife like that, even if she doesn't like what I say, when I'm saying no, in the long run, I trust the wisdom of it, and then she sees it later. But it's not one-sided. There's plenty of things that she's notified me of, the things that I can shift and change that I can't see for myself. That's the beauty of community. Without community, we can't fully see ourselves. I can't fully see myself on my own. It takes all of us to see it. So it's not just unique to me, it's unique to all of us. Was there anything else?
More personal.
Okay, got it. I realize this isn't not the place for a lot of vulnerability right now.
I thought it was all very peaceful. It was very lovely.
Thank you.
My favorite part was the halfway up the mountain going into the Temple of the Heart. And, yeah, I've seen that on videos, like the trek up to the Himalayas, and there's this beautiful temple, and then the Crystal Palace, and then the inside is another temple, the altar. And so that's what I got.
So I'm just open for if there's any questions here. And
Brandy, forgot you.
I'm sorry, Brandy. I didn't see you back in the corner there. Pardon me. Thank you.
I felt my child part of me in the beginning. I felt like the child part of me feeling like, why doesn't anybody love me? And feeling ashamed for not feeling like I was being loved. And then when we took the stones or the rocks out, I felt like I saw how that created something in me where I am so judgmental of other people and not open and loving to them. So the very thing that I felt wasn't given to me, there's a part of me that doesn't give that to other people. And then like a lot of grief and a lot of energetic movement in my heart, and then a lot of gratitude to my higher self for everything, for the journey together, and a desire to have a more complete communication with my higher self without needing to stop, just to have a more openness to that. And then when the armor was getting laid down, just noticing, I think I already said that, the energetic movement of things kind of, I don't know, just moving, hopefully shifting. And just feeling like there's a gift in being able to feel things that are imperfect and to be able to not desire perfection from anything, from myself or from people, with the judgment of myself or with people.
Yeah, what do you feel is moving underneath the grief that you mentioned?
Underneath it,
Yeah, there's usually a feeling with the grief. I mean, you might be able to identify it with somebody in particular, but in the space of just raw grief itself, what do you feel is underneath or holds it in place?
shame.
Okay. And then, kind of tracking where's the shame originating from? What's underneath that?
Not feeling like I'm good enough to be loved.
Right. So that's the core, and it's pretty common. Is that not enoughness? And a lot of it comes from the mind, the not enoughness, no matter what we do, how hard we try, or how it looks. It's not enough. Even in this space, I've even witnessed it in circles, me being one of them, that the mind, when there's an opening, it feels good. When our heart's open, there's a healing that comes in, feels good. Most everybody wants to feel good and get out of the pain. And yet, of course, the pain is one of the teachers. But coming back to the not enoughness, no matter what we do, spiritually, it's never enough from the mind, because it'll jump from one opening and then look for the next and the next and the next. And then there's no actual integration of the very thing that Spirit has offered or given us. And so in any space of resistance in life is a place of resistance to love. And the very thing we've wanted, we've craved, and yearned for, work pretty hard at pushing it away because of that not enoughness. And so how will we ever feel enough? What would it take to feel enough? Would be a good inquiry. What would it feel like to be enough? If you can go there, just imagine, and just what would it like if you felt in this moment you're enough right here, right now? What would that feel or look like within self? to actually live in that space.
I would feel being open and not living in the judgment of how. Did you talk about earlier how we get stuck and like our minds think things are supposed to be a certain way?
Well, something like that. I mentioned that sometimes when there's an opening, people have profound openings spiritually, different retreats, different spaces, and they're happy with it in the moment, but it's not too long after that the mind comes in and undoes the very work that is done, because in the not enoughness, the mind feeds that. So there's very little time taken to integrate the very thing that was received. And it wants to jump to the next and to the next and to the next until the short life is over. So what are we waiting for in life? I witnessed this lady on America's Got Talent. I don't know if everybody's seen that, but I have. And she was thin, short hair, and they come on, and some of them are really talented singers. Have you seen it, or you ever seen it? And so I like it because it brings up a lot of emotions. I like to see the underdog win. And so this girl came up, and she had a beautiful song, but before she started, the guy asked her, "What is it about your life?" And she shared, I think she was in her 30s, "Well, I have cancer." And I asked myself, I've been waiting to live my life, and I asked myself, what am I waiting for? What are we waiting for? Why not live it now? So in the place of considering that place anywhere where you haven't felt enough, could you accept the fact that in this moment you're enough right where you're at? And in this place of awareness, as we're opening and moving, we're actually not even in charge of our own awakening. I like to think I am, but it just kind of, I feel once we've opened, it's like, what'd you say, Kelly? I like what you said about it, about the phone call.
Once you answer the call, you cannot hang up.
There you go. So you're all in the same boat. We might as well find a way through this and find out how can this enoughness really feed our souls. Because even some of the different shades of people, really wealthy people, you know what? If we consider that are people that are important, they go through the very same things we go through every day. It's just it's not as exposed, or maybe not even noticed or known yet in that space. So this opportunity to heal the shame, the guilt, the grief, the pain. And I can truly say from my heart, I know I used to in workshops, the pain is the medicine, and I left it there, but it had no depth to it until I felt my own pain. And when I felt my own pain, I didn't know what to do with it. And I suggested, "Bill, what is the pain about?" And I said, "Well, it's about sadness." "What's the sadness about?" And I said, "Well, one of the things is I really don't like my father a lot. And I'm pretty angry with him." And so I was told, "Well, why don't you express it?" And I said, "Well, I don't know if I can do that in front of everybody." And so I was encouraged to pick somebody that looked like my father. And so the person came in front of me, and I got to say to my father what I always wanted to say. And at the end, I burst into tears because what I discovered is actually how deeply I loved him and didn't even know it. So there's so much more for each one of us, those of you online. Be willing to face the pain, because it truly is the medicine. Does it get really painful, almost unbearable? Yes. But the one thing I know is the pain, the getting on my knees, is how God brought me to come to know myself and to be free from the pain. Does the pain still come? I don't like it when it comes, but when it comes, I know the other side, or the shadow of it, is the freedom that I've always wanted. So what I'm basically speaking into is free. What are we waiting for? Why have we fought so hard against love? The very thing that we've craved, the very thing we've wanted, the very thing that we yearn for. What happened in our humanity? So those that feel the call, feel this awareness. If you're feeling any resistance in your being in this moment, it's the place where you push love away. And so, what if we're just open to receive it? We don't have to do anything for it. We don't have to earn it. We don't have to pay for it. We don't need any merit badges on what we've accomplished. It just is. So I feel like I witness people just coming into being in their natural state of being. How would that feel for you? Just to be satisfied with self, appreciate self, to love self, and that be a natural state of being. And so what do you feel, if you don't mind me inquiring? What do you feel it would take for that to happen for you?
To release all the pain I have or carry. I try to please and help everyone else but myself.
See, that comes back to worth. And so in the pleasing, it's almost the same thing as saying yes when you mean no. Mm-hmm. So what happens when we're doing that betrayal to self, it's hard to let self know it's our own betrayal, it's not somebody else's. The bitterness of resentment shows up. And so in the relationships around us, when this is unhealed, it shows up. So in that place of, we mentioned clarity, is coming back to that place. It's tough to say no when you first start, but when you get used to it, it's easy. Mm-hmm. And some of the people I didn't want to say no to, when I said no, they came back and told me, you know, Bill, that was a good decision. So it's so important to really trust your yes and no in life, because without it, we're missing out on a lot of opportunity.
With me, a lot of times when I say no because to protect myself, I'm the bad person then. You weren't my friend. You don't care about me.
Well, if they were coming from that place, maybe they weren't your friends at all, because you truly, the deeper you go into your heart, the more you come to know your heart, you really know who your true friends are.
Yep, and I'm learning that, and I'm opening my eyes more to that. And when I think I know I'm not letting them do that, they flip it, and I'm right back to square one.
No, I understand that process.
And it's happening now, and it's killing me.
I can see that.
It's really killing me.
Yeah. Well, tonight, this is God's invite for you to really do something about it. The step has to be on your part, though. Nobody can do it for you. But in your willingness, I guarantee you, in your willingness, there will be a lot of support for you.
And I want to try to follow my heart, but it gets broken so many times. And that's what I'm dealing with right now, too.
Well, here's the thing about hearts breaking. This has been my experience, is that when your heart is breaking, it's actually breaking open. So the very thing that you are desiring and wanting, you can receive it. I know that may seem a little backwards, but yet in the breaking open, even in the place of where people have relationships, oh, this one's going to be forever. This is my last marriage or my last relationship. And then as time goes on, the weakness in the relationship shifts and changes. And it wasn't the person that you thought it was, because all of this unintegrated stuff starts coming up in the relationship, and if there's no communication skills, it doesn't last. And so the very thing we thought was forever comes to an end. And then the dread and pain of that. And then also the dread and pain of having to start over again. And so in the place, consider, what is God calling you to?
And I'm fighting so hard not to go down. Because last year I almost did. And I dug myself out and said, no, I can't. You can't take me down with you. And I'm struggling now. And
Well, I know it can move. I've seen it move. And many, many times there's people here that have experienced it. And it's freedom. And so really these disappointments and heartbreaks are only sending you back to your true home, which is your heart. So no matter what happens in life, good, bad, or indifferent, you always have somewhere to come to. And that's the place where most people don't have a place to go to. And most people don't want to listen to it anyway. I'm not saying everybody, but it's been my experience. So in this place, you can have it if you want it. And the question is, how bad do you want it, and what are you willing to do?
I need to say no.
Yeah, and just that beginning alone, that little bit of clarity, you'll watch the wisdom of it work out. And they may be mad at you momentarily for a while, but when they see it working out, when you had the courage to say no, then something else opens up for them. And that's a place, because I can see, when I look at you, I can see the love you hold. There's a lot of love. I think you have enough for the whole planet.
I get told that a lot.
So why not loosen that? The planet could use you right now. So it'd be nice to see that pain free up. And I work with pain, so I'm very familiar with it. And I gave you my card, so if you feel to connect, I'd love to help you through that.
For sure, yes.
And was there anything else you received? Or do you feel complete?
Good.
Okay. Anyway, you already said something, right? Okay. Everybody, I said something, so I just wonder, were there any questions while I'm just sitting here at this point? Okay, well, I guess that's a no. I just wanted to say thank you to Dennis. This is very unusual for me to come into another person's space. But the minute I met Dennis, he came over to fix my computers, thank God. And for whatever reason, the whole time he was there, I felt like I knew him already. I felt like he was a brother just by being around him. And when we sat down at the computers, we started talking, and then we hit this spot where I could really see emotion in his eyes and feel it in my heart. I really felt, as men to men, we really were feeling each other's hearts. And I know there's men on the planet that are really suffering, that want to change. They don't know how, they don't know where to go. And they have a lot of love, they just don't know how to communicate, especially in the feminine realms of being with women's emotional bodies and stuff. They have no clue. It terrifies them. So Dennis is not that way. I'm pretty sure of that. But the connection in inviting me here to be in the presence of all of you, thank you, Dennis. And
we're going to have a little men's club. Comes back.
Yeah.
Just like on a Saturday or something like that.
Yeah. That would be awesome, because, they're out there, and I've been meeting, just kind of purposely going to places. Kelly came with me, and these guys out there were so open. They just don't know where to go. So anyway, I just mentioned that. And, well, the only other thing I can think of here is just our finishing song, and I just thought I'd turn it back over to you at this point.
Actually, I do have a question.
Oh, okay.
And maybe it does, my question maybe falls a little bit more in the masculine realm. It's, I struggle with this place of needing to do and needing to respond. And the more I sit in my heart, the more I feel this calling to be in the opening, to be in the space, and to not respond, and just to bear witness. but there's still a pull within me to. Sometimes it feels like fixing, but sometimes it just feels like just needing to respond in some way. But I also have a sense of that the response is maybe coming from an old place and maybe not spirit guided anymore. And so it's just a place in me that's starting to open up and explore more. And I'm grateful to have some spaciousness around it that I don't need to respond right away. But there's also this thing coming in that says, maybe I don't have to respond at all, and that's like something totally from the stratosphere from me, for me as a man, just to sit there and feel it and bear witness and not respond at all. And I don't know, maybe there's something in there for you from your experience that you might speak to.
Well, just bringing it back to my own self, was a pastor many, many years back, and I felt so responsible for everything and everyone. By the time I got done giving and fixing and saving everybody, nothing was left for me.
Right.
And I ended up leaving very bitter because I had been over loyal to everybody except Bill, the one being I've come here to be with. And so in the place of pleasing or saying that is where we're over loyal. We're not being truly loyal to self. So in that space, it's calling it back. But also the other thing, I don't think there's anything we really have to do other than being present. And I know that presence alone needs no defense. Because it just is. Mm-hmm. And then in that place way back when, if it's not loving or neutral, why consider it? Do I have that kind of time on the planet to waste considering things that aren't loving and neutral? I'd rather put my focus there because that's where the heart lies. So I feel, Bill, that your heart is just really grounding you, calling you in just to be who you've always. There's nothing you have to do to become, please, or show. You're just living it. You're it. And it's just unfolding in your everyday life, the natural state of being, consciously. That's what I feel.
It is a rock out of my backpack.
I felt that one. Yeah. Yeah, that's the place of knowing as our beings are lightening. We know we're letting go because you can feel the lightness in our bodies. And so, was there anything else, Mr. Bill?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Good question. And let's see. 9. Okay. I thought I'd turn it back over to Dennis.
Did you have a song?
Yeah, I did. It's called Freedom. Yeah, I wanted to play it for everybody. I really like this one.
I won't hold back, I won't break myself, I won't pretend to fit your plan. I'm gonna walk away to a better place. No time to waste, I want freedom. Give me freedom.
Can I put my hand up
I don't wanna be somebody else. Every time I come
गुलों में रंग भरे बादलों बहार चले चले भैया चले भैया के गुलशन का कारोबार चले गुलों में रंग भरे
Break free or walk away.
जो हम पे गुजरा जो हम पे गुजर से गुजरे मगर शबे हिजरा हमारे इश्क तले आग पत्थर सामने चला कफस
Somebody else. Every time I compromise, I lose more of myself. I wanna be
से पूछे तो कहो कहीं तो है खुदा आज
Thank you, everyone. I see you back there. And everybody on the media, thank you. And thank you, Dennis, for allowing me to be here and do this meditation. Yeah. Thank you.